What's up guys, Phantom here back with episode 72 of my F1 2019 career mode as we are going to circuit Paul Ricard for the French Grand Prix for round 8 of season 4 here. As you can see, we have a brake upgrade, which is the last brake upgrade available on the Renault. As you can see here, we are still 4th on the grid in car performance as we are right in it with Racing Point and the Red Bull. As you can see, we also have a drag upgrade, an ultimate drag upgrade, coming in a couple of races as we move on to qualifying.
Welcome to qualifying for this weekend's French Grand Prix. The teams are making their last-minute adjustments before the lights go green and the fight for pole position gets underway. The pressure on the drivers here is enormous. Some would say it's just as important as the race itself. How do you feel about that, Ant? And how did you deal with it yourself when you were out there on the track?
It's honestly really down to good old experience. The more you do something, the better you get at it. And that includes learning how to handle the pressure you're under. Getting a good qualifying is vitally important. If you can get away from the pack at the start and avoid all the first corner shenanigans, you'll have made your life so much easier.
As we start out here in Q2, as we are coming through the penultimate corner here, as we're going to slow right up and try to get a very good exit off the corner here as we grab the DRS, come across the line, move over to the right side of the track there to try to minimize the track distance we are moving. As we come up to turn 1 there, we kind of ride over the curb, stay on that curb. As we come up to the penultimate corner here, make sure to stay in nice and tight, shift down to first gear to get some turn in for the last corner, get DRS, come across the line. We will be in P3 for Q2 here as we've made it through Q2 once again, as our teammate Ricardo has failed to do so. As we will move on to Q3 here now as we are coming up through the penultimate corner here as we are going pretty slowly as we try to get a very good run off of the final corner here, as France here is not a very exciting track. It's very ugly to look at here as we break between the curbs there, as it is really the blue striping is just an ugly part of the track here. As we are coming out of the final corner here, stay as straight as we can, make sure we stay as straight as we can, and we will be in P8 as we will not actually be that far up the grid as Leclerc once again in its dominant McLaren is on pole position for the French Grand Prix as we will move to the race.
Hello and welcome to the circuit Paul Ricard, current home of the French Grand Prix, an event dating all the way back to 1906. It's been held at many venues over the years, with famous moments from Dijon and Manicourt the feature of many a highlights reel. And let's hope we see more of those in the race today. The circuit Paul Ricard then, a 3.6 mile track, 25 miles east of Marseille. 15 corners here, 6 to the left and 9 to the right, with the main overtaking chance expected going into turn 8. Top speeds today should be around 205 miles per hour. Anthony Davidson is here once again for today's Grand Prix. Now, can I get your take on Max Verstappen? As ever, the threat of unreliability is never far away, and indeed they'll be starting out of position today due to a power unit component change. So it's going to be a difficult task to move forward from there.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Perez, Sebastian Vettel and Grosjean, Oldtimer, Albon, Butler and Kevin Magnussen. Raikkonen, Verstappen, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Lewis Hamilton and Ricciardo, Kvyat, Weber, Lando Norris and Lance Stroll. Russell and Nico Hülkenberg completes the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
As we sit here on the grid in P7 after Verstappen's 10th place grid penalty, as the 5 lights are on and they are finally away, barely managed to not jump the start. They managed to get a pretty hefty start on me at the front here, as we're going to go down the inside because they're always going to be slow, and we get turned in on and we have spun as Grosjean has just turned in on me on the apex of the corner, as now we're going to burn our tires trying to get it started again, as we are a good 6 to 7 seconds behind the last place there of the Williams of Hulkenberg and Russell there. As we come down the inside, we are there, and he just completely, like the AI have done all year, have turned in on us. As you can see, we are another 50 meters away from that first apex there, as he's not even giving me a tiny bit of room there, as Grosjean doing Grosjean things just completely sideswipes us. As you can see right there, Perez is off the track. As you can see here on replay, he kind of blew up in the middle of the terrible 180-degree corner in the third sector here, as he stopped everybody there at the front of the grid, and he's managed to hold a lot of people up for us. So we've come in, should be able to recover a little bit better there, as Sainz set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix there. As you can see, we're already like 3-4 seconds behind Hulkenberg here as we come on the lap 5. We have managed to get DRS on him, as we're going to force him to go defensive into the chicane here, as we're just going to sweep around the outside, and now we're going to have the inside for Russell there, but we've managed to not force him out there. He had positioning on us as he kind of pinched us down there on the apex, as we will get the run down the second straight here, as we will have the inside corner, as we almost lose it there on the right-hander, as we are coming into the pits at the end of this lap there. Make sure not to run it back of the Red Bull there, as we come down to the very slow pit lane here, as it is just forever. As you can see, people are already leaving as we pull in, and we will have a 2.97 pit stop there, as we are down into last place there, as we will get a few of our spots back here on the end of the beginning on lap 7 there. We come out ahead of Norris there, which is really good for us, as we will claim another 2 positions here, as we will be in 13th with 5 laps to go here, as Magnussen is our next victim here on our relentless chase back up towards the front, as we are going to have the outside here, which is going to turn into the inside here for the turn 2, as we've made it stick for P12 here, as we are attacking Weber now in the Haas, as we are going to go down the inside there and make the move stick even before the chicane here, as our next victim is Kvyat, as he is actually a little bit faster in a straight line. We are not able to make the move stick right before the chicane there, so that was a little bit more uncertainty, as we're going to go around the outside of the penultimate corner, which will turn to the inside. We're going to stick it down the inside of Albon, and the baguette of Grosjean is right ahead of us. So in a matter of 13 laps, we have managed to chase down and catch and quite rudely pass Grosjean there, as I was having none of his shit as he spun me out there. So I really didn't care there, as we've caught up a lot in the chicane there to Hamilton, as we were not able to get the drive off there to really tow and keep up with him, as Charles Leclerc has won the French Grand Prix, as we will recover to come to 8th place here.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
A beautiful performance from McLaren today. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
Our drivers are making their way out for the podium celebrations And it's going to be McLaren picking up the winner's trophy. Congratulations to the entire team for that fantastic performance. So let's review the updated driver's standings. Charles Leclerc, currently leading the championship standings, extends his lead even further with this result. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Max Verstappen seemed to just effortlessly weave through the other drivers today without a care in the world. He was definitely my driver of choice.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. McLaren continue to increase their gap at the top. Meanwhile, good work from Racing Point this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.